two other
Of course, now they're going. Well, we always went over there and get away from you, but now they're fixing to announce all that they ain't going to use masks. Party's over. But it's good. Probably figure out it's going to cost the hell out of it. Because I mean, those kids, they're not bringing masks home. Especially on the time of week, people go to dine or to get food. So.
I think it's expensive out as well.
I think so. I think they'll say that today, basically. Well, do you have all your family come to your house, or do you go somewhere?
Either in Memphis. That's hot.
We're out west.
Silicon Valley. Hey, that's a haul there too, bro.
You got to, I would do what? They drive to Memphis, and we'd make that plain state tour or something like that.
Yeah.
God almighty, I hate that stuff.
When I got 72.
Well, that's why I started doing it. I think that. Now, I know that's really one of the. That's fine. That's fine. That's what I was going to tell you anyway. See, the reason why we always put.
Check, 1, 2.
The reason why we were always putting over there was COVID. You get away from Kevin. But apparently they're going to make an announcement about that anyway. How they're going to be.
And they're recording that.
Okay. Good deal. Give me a copy. Yeah. Okay. Well, good deal. All right. There's the emergency if something happens to Mike over there.
Good for you. I'd like to look up myself.
So, Locke is our speaker today. You got them all set up for streaming?
They're taking care of the office. So you're going to show the video.
Right. I love that video.
If you want to put, you can leave this here.
Perfect. You know what else I'm going to do? I brought this up here because I was just like,
You're being broadcast. So. There you go.
yeah, just don't want there to be any question.
It is a hard word to say.
Well, it is when it's in context with other stuff.
I could think about it every time.
I do too. I mean, you really could probably say it several different ways, but that's the way it was established. So that's what we're going to use.
What I've been told about Latin is
Yeah.
you interpret it the way you want to. So I've heard it pronounced a lot of different ways.
Floyd will fix me if I screw it up.
Yeah, it was nice to see him last night.
Absolutely. Hey, he looks good.
He does. Testing, testing. 1, 2. Okay. Sounds good. We did a presentation in Haywood earlier this year where the mic went out and everybody learned how much I value sound.
It's hard to talk and get to that back row. Now, this place is full. Huh?
Yep, 750 students will be in here, and we'll have another 100. Upper school 750, with 1071, 6012. So we'll have. I mean, there'll be 900-ish in here today when we put all the adults in.
Wow.
So it's good. It's awesome. The only problem is the viewing part of it is
Right.
it's the only area we can serve. All right, so we got All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. If everyone can find their seats, please. Good morning and welcome to our assembly today. Every day is truly a special day at Baylor, but today is an extra special day. The Baylor experience is simultaneously an individual and collective experience. Alumni from the past connect back to the school by showing up to support current students, who will in turn become alumni themselves. We saw that this morning with our first ever Legacy Breakfast. We saw this yesterday with a rededication of Barks Hall. And we see it again today with those who made the trip to be with us this morning for our special presentation honoring John Harrison. Today, we will give our first John Harrison Award, which will allow us every year to pause at the intersection of Baylor's past, present, and future, a place where John was always comfortable and at his best, to honor the man that was the tie between so many of us and Baylor School. Many classes have strong connections. I'm in the class of 1989. We have many strong connections in our class. Our seniors are the class of 22. You have many strong connections that will truly last you the rest of your life. And today we're going to hear from a couple of members of the class of 1984. One who you really don't know, and one, Mr. Shaw Wilson, you know really well. To begin our award presentation today, it's my honor to introduce to you a really good friend of mine, a member of the class of '84. Locke Reddick was a boarding student here at Baylor from Atlanta, Georgia. He lived in Probasco his entire time and was a really good friend of John Harrison. They also attended Mercer University together and were lifelong friends. And while Mr. Reddick and I did not know each other while we were Baylor students, he and I became good friends living in Columbia, South Carolina together. And I had the privilege of working with his two daughters, Catherine and Abigail, while they were students at my previous school at Hammond. Mr. Reddick understands the value of a Baylor education. We've had numerous conversations about that over the years. And he is a strong supporter of athletics, golf in particular, and the arts. And he helped us in many ways in the arts at Hammond. Perhaps his most significant achievement was marrying his wife, Tracy, who is also with us this morning in our chapel. Having known Mr. Reddick for a long time now, I assure you that you are in for a real treat hearing from him this morning. So I would like for you, Baylor School, to give this alumnus a big red welcome as he comes to the stage. Mr. Locke Reddick.
Thank you, Chris. Well, good morning, Baylor community. Good morning to John's wonderful family, his friends and associates from Baylor administration, and to our classmates and other alumni from Baylor who were students during the early 80s and are here to honor John as we present the first John Harrison Magnanimitas Award. Welcome also to those who are unable to make it in person, but who are watching online. I'd like to take one moment first, if I may, and acknowledge a friend and classmate, Steve Bettis, who passed away only 4 weeks ago from COVID. He and John were very close, and Steve was deeply involved with Baylor as a parent and a board member. He was a member of our committee to establish this award, and he is especially missed today as we gather to honor our friend John. I'll be speaking primarily this morning to the students in attendance. I'd like to introduce you to the John Harrison that those of us lucky enough to call him friend, husband, dad, son, and brother knew. I'd like to introduce you to an extraordinary man. John was born with a condition known as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. While usually not fatal, it has a number of possible symptoms that range from height extremes to joint issues and challenges with the durability of your skin. John had these challenges, and it affected his ability to play sports and have the normal rough and tumble life of a young boy. John was also very tall at a young age, an age where appearance can be viewed harshly by children and young teens. The combination of height and the inability to engage in contact sports and other campus activities would have had a potentially devastating effect on most children, but not John. Undeterred and with a determination rare in someone so young, John jumped, and I mean literally, into the middle of everything. Instead of limiting his activities, he was everywhere. John became the very heart and soul of the athletic teams, the campus events, and dorm life. He developed his social skills and became one of the most gifted listeners and communicators any of us ever knew. John embraced his unique physicality and used it to motivate and encourage others to join and engage. His energy, humor, and self-depreciating manner put everyone at ease and gave him a cool factor that was fantastic. While not the quarterback of the football team or the valedictorian, John found his niche and became a legend. As a matter of fact, those big red paws and the prints that you see coming every Macaulay Baylor game on campus were created and first painted by John. I had the good fortune to spend several years at Mercer University with John, and his journey and personal growth continued. Throughout college and early childhood, John was continuing to transition from a witty and entertaining class clown to a husband, a father, a leader, and a man of faith. His marriage to Carrie and the arrival of their daughter Beth were seminal events that encouraged John to view himself as lucky, and he was grateful and in debt to a higher power for his good fortune. After perfecting his tradecraft at Wesleyan School and Georgia State University School of Law, John returned to Baylor to fulfill his legacy and begin his last leg of his journey. John spent every day finding ways to connect Baylor with its graduates. He was a tireless advocate and spent an inordinate amount of time keeping his own class of '84 connected. He genuinely cared about each of us and spent most of the time asking us questions or congratulating us on our successes rather than talking about himself. He raised money for Baylor at a record pace, and he gave as well of his own. Baylor, its success, and his desire to give back to the place that gave him his confidence, his identity, and a foundation to go out in the world and make a difference became his life's work. His faith, his family, and his friendships are his legacy now. John unwittingly gave us life lessons. The first and foremost was his acceptance and his embrace of his Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. He taught us how to own our uniqueness and use it to better oneself. Through his outward devotion to family and faith, he inspired us to be better men. With visits, calls, and notes, he gave us the gift of connectedness, one that we will try to sustain in his absence. Finally, he demonstrated such maturity and grace and dignity as his health began to wane. He did not allow his virtual blindness to stop his work, nor did he allow his dialysis in his final months to keep him away from Baylor. Those of us that spoke to him as the end approached were simply in awe of his disposition. He was confident in his destination, in his life's work, and that he had led an honorable and meaningful time on this earth. He had loved without reservation and given to all of his families, Baylor, his childhood friends, his actual family, and the many friends he made as an adult. He had led a life of magnanimitas. The 19th century American poet Henry Longfellow wrote, "Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and in departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. We're going to preserve those footprints, and in an intimate and personal way with your help. You will be asked each year to stop and think about yourself and your fellow students. Who puts others first through selflessness? Who performs small and random acts of kindness? Who has inspired this community with their positivity and willingness to face challenges? Whose actions are for noble purposes? And who gives of themselves every day? When you decide, and as a recipient is nominated and chosen each year, you will enable us to honor and pay tribute to our friend. It's a small gesture for a huge achievement, but it's our way of saying to John and the entire Harrison family, you are extraordinary, and we're going to honor your life by continuing your legacy indefinitely. Now, before we announce the inaugural recipient of this award, I'd like to let you hear about magnanimitas from John directly, from this very location just 2 years ago. Thank you.
Two other ideas that were outlined in that board meeting were the terms magnanimitas and servant leadership. You hear about magnanimitas. John Roy Baylor thought it was such an important Latin term that it's etched into the gate. So as you're leaving today to go on Thanksgiving break, look on the gate. See where you find the word magnanimitas. It stands for passion. It stands for greatness of spirit. Everybody's got it. You might not know what it is right now, but everybody's got it, and it will grow. And as it grows, not only do you become a better student today, but you become a better citizen in person tomorrow. Now, I have taken the month of November off from reading, so I'm going to have Scott Wilson come read an excerpt from a letter that John Roy Baylor wrote to Baylor students outlining the importance of magnanimitas.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Writing as if with a premonition that it was to be his last message to the boys of Baylor, the boys he loved, the school to which he gave all of his energy, Professor John Roy Baylor prepared during the summer an address of welcome for the students of 1926-27. Professor Baylor died before the opening day's exercise, but the address was read by Professor Alex Gary. The qualities necessary to success, Dr. Baylor said, were love, hope, ambition, courage, duty, humility, reverence, and last, above all, magnanimitas, generosity, high-mindedness, loftiness of spirit. Dr. Baylor's words were these, and finally, if this was the last word that God gave me the strength to say to you and to give you as a watchword for life, I do not know that I could find a better one for you than that of the old Romans, magnanimitas.
Thanks, Scott. And one of the things I'd like to say is when you think of the word magnanimitas, not only is it about you and your passion, your greatness of spirit, but that's infectious, and it affects and impacts other people. And it really is about making a change in the world around you, which is part of the Baylor mission.
Well, good morning, everyone. As you can see, my friend and colleague, John Harrison, was a special man. He was a real character to those of us when he was a student, and someone that everyone loved to be around his entire life. And as Locke mentioned, he grew into a compassionate, caring man who really wanted to spread his positive outlook and passion for giving to all those around him. So today we're honored to give this award in his name. In fact, the physical award that we will hand out today has the design of a palm tree on it in honor of John, who was known for keeping what he referred to as a spirit palm in his dorm room, and something that lived on long after he graduated. I want to thank so many of you. I want to thank students and faculty who took the time to nominate students for this inaugural award. I served on the committee, and a special thanks to that group as well. And I was gratified and heartened to read through the many nominations that were made. We are really surrounded by some exceptional young people who are having a tremendous impact on their classmates and their communities right now. I also want to thank my classmate Locke Reddick for those inspiring words this morning. And I want to personally reiterate Locke's welcome and thanks to many of John's friends and family who are here with us today. I hope you understand that it's by design we give this award today. First, it's the 2-year anniversary of the speech from which those video excerpts come. But most importantly, it is the last day we'll be together before we break for Thanksgiving, a holiday which gives us pause to consider our many blessings and how we perhaps can help those less fortunate in our community. It is in this context of gratitude and service that I ask all of us to consider how we can give back to our various communities. Indeed, part of the responsibility of today's recipient will be to take the $500, which is part of the award, and figure out how to best use that sum in one's ingenuity and hard work to make a positive impact in the community. In the spring, the recipient will speak with all of us at an assembly about what he or she has done with his or her time, talents, and treasures. Part of our hope in giving this award is a better and long-lasting understanding of the culture of philanthropy, of giving back. The recipient of this award is just one person, but the challenge before all of us today is to find ways in which we can support the institutions and causes we love and how to make that a more permanent part of our lives. So during this Thanksgiving holiday, I ask all of us, students, faculty, and guests, to consider how we go about making a positive difference in the world. So at this time, I would like to share with you this year's recipient, and I'd like to ask her to come forward when I call her name to accept the award. I'll also ask her and all of today's guests to join us for a reception in Lupton Circle immediately after Assembly today. The recipient of the inaugural John Harrison Magnanimitas Award is Marguerite Pippinger. And now, we'll have some announcements.
Hey, I'm Kadeja.
And I'm Eli.
And we are seniors on the varsity basketball teams. And today we wanted to let y'all know that we have a game today at Signal. Girls starts at 6.
And the boys' game starts at 7:30. Also, the boys have a home game on Tuesday over break at 1:30 versus St. Pius. It should be a good game, so everyone come support.
And girls, we play Tuesday at 5:30 against Brentwood, so please come and support us. Thank you, and GBR.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Larimore. I teach in the upper school and work with the Walkabout program, and I am very excited to announce that Walkabout will be running a spring break trip to Panama this year, and spring break 2022. This trip will be a mix of 2 previous trips that we've run frequently pre-COVID, one in which we go to Santa Fe, a mountain town, and explore rivers and the jungle. And the second half, we'll go to Santa Catalina and try our hands at surfing. It's a really great opportunity. If you want to talk to Keegan McCrory and Spratt Allison, they've been to Santa Fe, and seniors Ellie Smith and Audrey Bell and Kate Rogers have been to Santa Catalina. They can tell you about their experience. We will have an informational meeting on Tuesday, December 7th at 7 p.m. in the Chapel Lecture Hall. So you can come and we'll go over the itinerary and costs and what will likely be a selection process on that day. So you can bring your parents. We welcome any questions. And in the meantime, between now and then, if you're talking to your parents about the opportunity, you have questions, send them to me, Tim Larimore, or to Tim Williams. Thank you very much.
What's up, everybody? Couple more sports announcements. Coming off a big boys and girls win against the #1 dual team in the nation, Westminster, last weekend. But the swim team has another meet this Saturday against Cardinal Gibbons, which has the Olympic silver medalist Claire Curzon. So everyone show out, wish them luck. Ladies fencing swept both fencing events last weekend. The men also dominated, and both teams will continue their season on December 11th. I do not have any good fencing puns, but if anyone wants to take a stab at it, just let me know. Congrats to all the signees this week. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving break. Seniors, we have 190 days till graduation, and Mr. Wilson has a couple more things to say.
I always knew that Nick had a pretty sharp wit, was able to make such cutting remarks. I could be here all day. All right, I've got a couple of really good announcements here. We're pleased to announce that when we get back from break, November 29th, we will return to normal pre-COVID operations in the servery of the dining hall. We are excited to be making this transition, but we realize that for many of our newer students and faculty, a lot of this will look brand new, and that's by newer students and faculty. If you were here last year and this year, you really won't know what this looks like. So I'm asking the veterans to help out. Here's what this will mean. Here are the specifics. Masks will be optional for students and adults in the servery. Dining hall staff will still continue to use masks, but if you wish to, you can, but you do not, will not be required to. All lines will be self-service. In most instances, we will be serving our own portions of food. We will return to the normal self-service salad bar and soups, which I'm excited about. And if you haven't had Miss Regina's chicken salad, you're going to be in for a treat. Those types of options will be back on the menu. We'll also expand our hot food line offerings: fried chicken, funky chicken, which I don't really remember what that was, and orange chicken. For folks who are eating inside the dining hall, we will return to the use of standard reusable silverware and plates. This is where the veterans need to help out. When you are finished eating, you need to take your used plates, the silverware, the cups, all of that stuff, all of the food, any extra things that you have there, your napkins, trash, whatever, take it all the way around to the dishwashing area, which is right there next to the main exit of the dining hall. You'll dump your trash there. Don't dump your silverware. There'll be a place for the silverware and the plates and cups. So please do that. And again, veterans help out the new guys. If you wish to eat outside of the dining hall, whether that's outside or if you want to go back to your dorm room, I don't encourage you to do that, but if you want to do that, if you feel more comfortable doing that, that is fine. You will need to use the same single-use plates and utensils that we've been using all along. So we will have some of those styrofoam plates, cups, and silverware packets. You just need to ask for those if you don't see them. They should be around, but if they've run out, just ask one of the dining hall staff and they'll help you. Most importantly, cookies are coming back. Yes. To make this work, we'll absolutely have to have everybody's cooperation in a couple of areas. I want to stress this really, really hard. We cannot take those plates, cups, and silverware outside of the dining hall. We just cannot do that. As you can imagine, there's supply chain shortage of those items. But if we run out, they're expensive and they're hard to replace. So let's be sure that we do not take those items outside. If you want to eat outside, like I said before, get the single serving or single-use plates, silverware, and cups. If you don't see them available, just ask the dining hall folks. The second thing we have to do is this. We have to do a better job of cleaning up after ourselves. This is kind of all over campus, but especially in the dining hall. I talked to everybody a couple of weeks ago about this in assembly, and for a couple of days, everybody did a lot better. And then we went back to some bad habits. So please, 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 let's take care of that. Our dining hall staff are a really, really important part of our family. Let's show them the respect they deserve by cleaning up after ourselves properly. So all of this will happen after Thanksgiving break. So it's not today. So today, everything's kind of like it's been, and let's plan accordingly for after the break. Speaking of respect, Sunday is Kitty's birthday. So if you will swing by and tell Miss Kitty happy birthday, I know she will appreciate that. And today is Miss Judy Milliner's birthday. So let's all wish her a happy birthday. And I hope everyone has a safe, restful, and happy Thanksgiving break. We will remember seniors, you're dismissed, and we dismiss from the front on Fridays. Have a great day. Go Big Red.